Picture this. It's 11 p.m. You're lying in bed and you're not sleeping, you're planning. You're having the conversation you should have had last week. You're finally sending that message. You're starting that thing you've been putting off for 6 months. In your head, you're doing it. You're actually doing it. And then your alarm goes off the next morning and you didn't do any of it. Again. You lie there thinking, why can't I just do it? What is wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you, but something is running in the background of your brain that nobody ever told you about, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. There's a film called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and most people think it's just a feel-good movie about a quiet guy who starts taking risks. It's not. It's actually a detailed map of the exact pattern that's keeping you stuck. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what that pattern is, and more importantly, how to break it. Before we go further, subscribe to never miss out on our upcoming videos. It genuinely helps the channel. Okay, let's get into it.
Walter Mitty has a job, a routine, a life that looks fine from the outside, but in his head, he's a hero. He's doing incredible things. He's living. And then he snaps back to reality, back to his desk, back to the waiting. Sound familiar? Here's what that actually looks like for most people in their 20s. You have something you want to do. Maybe it's a career change. Maybe it's a hard conversation. Maybe it's just starting a YouTube channel or a business. Maybe it's starting the version of your life that feels more like you. But you don't do it. And it doesn't feel like fear exactly. It feels more like waiting for the right moment, waiting until you feel more ready, waiting for someone, a parent, a friend, a therapist, a sign, to look at you and say, yes, now go. That feeling has a name. Psychologists call it an external locus of control. Big phrase, simple idea. You're living like the permission to move forward has to come from somewhere outside you. And most of the time, you don't even know you're doing it. This isn't laziness, it's a pattern, one that got wired into you a long time ago. And here's the scary part. The permission you're waiting for, it doesn't exist. No one is coming. The starting gun was never going to fire. You were always the one holding the key. Most people never figure that out. They spend their whole 20s waiting, then their 30s, then one day they look back and realize choosing to wait was their decision. This video is about breaking that pattern before it becomes your whole story. Let's dive into 5 mechanics of the permission trap, exactly how it works and why it's so hard to escape. 1. Your brain mistakes planning for progress. Close your eyes and imagine yourself doing the thing. Really picture it. Feel that? That little buzz of satisfaction? That's real. That's your brain actually firing as if you're doing the thing. There's a network in your brain called the default mode network. It activates when you imagine meaningful action the same way it activates when you take meaningful action. So when you spend 45 minutes planning your dream life in your Notes app, your brain goes, "Nice, we did something today." You didn't, but your brain thinks you did. Walter Mitty was exactly the same way. His brain was doing exactly what brains do, finding reward through the path of least resistance. Imagination is that path. And the trap is, the more you picture it, the less urgency you feel to actually do it. The fantasy stops being fuel, it becomes the destination. The way to reset is to give yourself 1 minute to picture it, just 1 minute. Then, before your brain settles back into planning mode, take one small physical action. Send the message, open the document, write one line. The action doesn't have to be big, it just has to be real.
2. You were trained to wait. Think back to how you grew up. School, family, church, sports, any kind of structured system. every single one of those systems ran on permission. You raised your hand and waited to be called on. You didn't move until someone said move. You didn't speak until someone said speak. Nobody was trying to damage you, that's just how structure works. But here's the thing nobody talks about. You internalized that rule. You took it with you, long after you left school, long after the rules stopped applying. Some part of your brain still thinks, I should wait for someone to authorize this. In your 20s, when there's no clear authority structure anymore, you freeze or you invent one. You wait for the right time or enough experience or someone to confirm that yes, you're qualified, yes, you're allowed. The way to reset is write down one thing you've been waiting on. Then ask yourself, who specifically am I waiting for? Name them. If you can't name a real person, you're waiting for a fiction, and you can stop now. 3. You've confused being ready with being certain. Here's a big one. Readiness feels like certainty. It feels like, I know this will work. I know I won't fail. I know I won't embarrass myself or waste my time. But that's not readiness. That's a guarantee. And life doesn't do guarantees. Real readiness is simpler. Real readiness is, I have enough information to take the next step. Not all the steps, just the next one. The people who actually move, they're not more confident than you. They're not less scared. They've just accepted that the step itself will teach them things that no amount of waiting ever could. This is the core of what Mitty learns. He doesn't become brave in his imagination. He becomes brave by getting on the plane, by showing up. That action creates the courage, not the other way around. The trap here is you're waiting to feel ready before you act, but the feeling of readiness only comes after you act. That's not a motivational line. That's how the brain actually works. Confidence is built through evidence, through doing things, surviving them, and doing them again. You can't think your way into that. You have to move your way in.
4. Someone taught you that wanting things was dangerous. This one is harder to hear, but some of you need to hear it. Maybe in your house, wanting things out loud meant getting disappointed, so you stopped wanting loudly. Maybe ambition got met with, who do you think you are? Maybe the people around you never chased anything, so chasing something feels like you're saying their life wasn't good enough. Psychologists call this identity foreclosure. It's when your sense of who you are gets locked to who the people around you needed you to be, and any move away from that feels like a threat, not just to them, but to yourself. So you don't start, not because you don't want to, but because starting means admitting you want something different, and that's a harder admission than it sounds. The reset here is to separate two questions. What do I want? And what will people think about what I want? Those are two completely different questions. Answer the first one, privately, honestly, before you ever get to the second. 5. You're racing against an imaginary version of yourself. Here's the quietest version of the trap. You don't just imagine the life you want. You imagine the you who has that life, and that version of you is sorted, confident, knows what they're doing, has it all figured out. Then you look at yourself right now. You are unsure, still figuring things out, maybe a little lost, and you decide, I'm not that person yet. I'll wait until I am. But here's the thing. That future version of you didn't get there by waiting to feel ready. They got there by being exactly where you are right now, uncertain, figuring it out, and doing the thing anyway. You're not behind the person you're supposed to become. You are them, mid-process, right now, today. The gap you're feeling isn't a sign that you should wait. It's a sign that you're already in it.
In the film, there's a moment where Walter is standing at the edge of something. literally standing there. And he has every logical, practical, self-protective reason to stay where he is. And he jumps. Not because he stopped being scared, not because he finally figured it out, not because someone gave him a green light. He jumps because he finally understood something. The waiting wasn't keeping him safe, it was just quietly killing him. Not with drama, but with slow disappearance. That's what this video is really about. It is not about the jump, it's about the moment before the jump, when you realize that what you thought was patience is actually paralysis. You are not waiting because you're not ready. You're waiting because somewhere along the way, you learned that moving without permission was dangerous, and that lesson made sense at the time. It doesn't anymore. The life you keep imagining at 11 p.m., it doesn't need more planning, it doesn't need better timing, it doesn't need the perfect version of you. It needs one move this week, something small enough to actually do, but real enough to count. Not because one move changes everything, but because one move proves something to your own brain. It proves that you don't need a gate to open, you were always allowed to go. Drop a comment with the one thing you've been waiting to start. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And as always, I will see you in the next video.